Hey y'all, I am doing these every day because I am learning so much every day. And after every time I record one of these videos, I learn something that makes what I just said erroneous. So I want you to again acknowledge that doing the work of anti-racism requires us to make mistakes. And I had a call from my friend Missy, who's a colleague, and she just called to be like, hey, how are you? I see you. Let's do this work together. And we were talking about how perfectionism gets in the way of us speaking out because we have such a fear of saying or doing the wrong thing. And I love this quote from her, and I asked for the permission. She says she tells the folks in her business, if you're not making mistakes, you're sitting around with your thumb up your ass. And you know I love me some candor. So just get over that, right? Just lean into the fear and discomfort of doing or saying the wrong thing and do it anyway and be ready to apologize. Yes, I'm gonna say that every single time because I can't tell you how important it is to remember. The other thing that I wanna acknowledge is that I am very new to the work of becoming anti-racist. What I'm not new to is my understanding of trauma and how the body holds trauma. And I'm also not new to the concept of fuckery and how important it is to look in the mirror and acknowledge our own trust-damaging habits. I am well-versed in building self-awareness, and I have learned a lot about people over my, I don't know, how old am I, 46, 25 years of working in my communities as a social worker, and 10 years of working in hospice and working with people as they die teaches us a lot about humanity. And while not knowing a lot about racism has kept me quiet and has kept me feeling small and has kept me from being vocal, I'm gonna instead choose to lean into what I do know about humanity and what I do know about my empathy and what I do know about my trauma. And this isn't an exercise in what Lori knows. It is to suggest that you do the same thing. Where are your strengths? Do you have a lot of compassion? Do you have a lot of empathy? Are you a good listener? Are you curious? Because if you have any of those skills, you already have some of the most important skills to learn to pay attention to the things that we have not been paying attention to. So that's your challenge for today, is to look at what you're already bringing to this work instead of what you don't know and don't yet have and don't yet understand. The other thing is that I was reminded last night by my teacher, Rebecca Greenidge, that to do the work of anti-racism and to try to show up and acknowledge some painful truths in ourselves, we have to be grounded to do that work. And she always starts us in the class with reconnecting to our body and paying attention to both how we're feeling emotionally, but even more important, how we're feeling in our body. I already know this from the work that I do with trauma. And I already know this from what I understand about the brain and our nervous system. And if you've ever paid attention to where I've talked about polyvagal theory or interpersonal neurobiology, and if you've been a client, you're already doing this work with me. So let's talk a little bit more about what we're feeling in our body. And I want you to know that probably 90% of people are very confused by that question and they've never really paid attention. So I'm going to use myself as the model for learning. Right now, my heart is beating wildly in my chest. I'm not even sure why that is. There's not a clear causal answer for that. I can tell you that I've been sitting at my computer for the last 4 hours, and I've been consuming a lot of conversations around racism and around social justice. I've been getting texts from my friends about where and how we're going to show up tonight. I've been taking calls with current clients and with potential clients, and I have another call coming up this afternoon with a very prominent leader who started a new organization for women in tech. And I private messaged her and said, I don't understand why of the 20 some women pictured that there were no black women. And she actually agreed to take a call with me. So I say that not because I'm awesome, but because that was one little tiny way that we can open our minds and curiosity and reach more people, but to also explain why my chest is feeling the way it is. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through what's happening in my body. So heart beating, also feeling a little short of breath. I'm feeling agitated. I'm feeling super scattered. That's what's happening in my mind, but my memory is shot. Highly distractible. I'm feeling a lot of tightness in my chest. Part of that is because I'm hunching over at the computer. Another part of that is because I'm regularly holding my breath, which I only know because I'm sighing at regular intervals, and Scott's hearing me say that, hearing me sigh all the time. I'm feeling like I need to make up for lost time. And so I find that I'm running, right? Like not literally, but mentally I'm running, and I'm really trying to catch up so I can do more, and that I can say more, and that I can take bigger risks. I can show up bolder, and that's awesome. And if you're feeling any of that, it's great. We need each other, and there's a lot of momentum. And it's also really important that if we're going to be of any use to this world, and if we're going to be able to show up and listen to others, if we're going to be effective and successful in holding space with people that don't agree with us, we will not be able to do that work well, and we will not be able to do that work very long if we are not regularly resting, if we are not regularly doing whatever it takes for us to feel grounded, for us to feel centered, for us to feel calm. After this video, I'm going to go outside and I'm going to go on a brisk walk, because I know that that is what will regularly help my heart rate to return to a normal range for me. So when I say, how are you feeling in your body? This is what I invite you to practice, right? And knowing that it might feel really foreign and strange to you for a while, and that's okay. Just sit quietly for a little bit. We are really, really out of practice of listening to the wisdom of our body. And while I am so glad that so many of us are reading books and watching TED Talks and joining groups and trying to fill our brains with new facts and new information, it's necessary, but don't just let it remain here and be a cerebral practice. This work needs to break you wide open. This is heart work. It's connective work. It is not work we can do alone. We must do it with others. Connecting in nature, connecting to whatever anchors you is so important. And as you do this work, that as you're journaling, as you're showing up with me, as you're having these conversations, that you're remembering, what am I learning? What am I holding academically? How am I feeling emotionally? How does this challenge my heart? How does this crack me open? Where do I feel guarded? And then also, where am I holding my own fear in my body? Where am I holding worry? What is my gut telling me? What is my heart rate telling me? What is my breath telling me? Right now, what is your breath telling you? Let's practice doing things that feel weird and uncomfortable. I love lion's breath. If any of you have any yoga practice, you might be familiar with this, but I'll show you what it is and then it'll be obvious, right? So I'm gonna do an inhale. Feel funny? Awesome. Here we go again. Okay. Western culture doesn't really like making noises, doesn't like to look silly like that, doesn't like to do that and record ourselves. It might look really unprofessional and stupid. I'm cool with that. It feels good to make noise, okay? It feels good to move our bodies, right? Whatever. If I can do this and record it and put it up, you can do it, okay? Move our bodies. This is not head work. If it's all in your head, we're not doing it right, okay? And there's lots of this we're already gonna get wrong. So I practice some lion's breath, practice just sitting and watching your natural breath, practice screaming. If you've got really big energy and a lot of adrenaline around this, use that. And also take note of where it's getting you in trouble. My self-righteous anger and fury is getting me in trouble because I still don't have the skills yet to know how to use my values and my desires to match my ability to show up and do the long, slow, arduous work of looking at really broken oppressive systems and looking in the mirror at how we embody those broken oppressive systems and structures and how little by little we can unlearn that and become not only whole individuals, and whole individuals who are also and therefore able to create whole and healing relationships and whole and healing families and whole and healing neighborhoods and communities. It always has to start here. Thank you so much. I see you.